And speaking of former opponents as well, you've got Khamzat and Dricus fighting for the belts in just over a month's time. What are your initial thoughts on that matchup stylistically?
So honestly, I'd have to say Dricus would be a favourite. He probably is a favourite, but I think I'm leaning towards Dricus.
Robert Whittaker has made waves with his bold prediction on the highly anticipated UFC 319 title fight between Dricus du Plessis and Khamzat Chimaev.
The whole thing can be summed up. Chimaev will take him down.
Yeah.
Will he finish him before he gets back up? That's the million-dollar question. Because if he doesn't finish him on the ground, I think he loses. But yeah. Wait and see.
Whittaker, who has faced both men and suffered setbacks in his own title pursuits, revealed what he believes will be the deciding factor in the match. The former middleweight champion's analysis has sparked even more speculation about how this clash between two of the most dominant fighters in the division will unfold.
And you're still chasing those two blokes, I imagine, whether it's for a title or not.
Oh yeah, the list is getting too long now. I got a
Rob's revenge list.
Yeah, I'm working. You know, Reiner's in the sights at the moment. I've got 3 more weeks of hard yakka, and then get in there, get to work, spend time with the family, and do it again.
According to Whittaker, the key to the fight lies in Chimaev's ability to capitalize on his explosive wrestling and early aggression. Whittaker emphasized that Chimaev's ability to secure a takedown early, as he did against Whittaker at UFC 308, will be crucial. However, Whittaker doesn't think Chimaev can afford to take his foot off the gas. If he fails to finish du Plessis before the South African returns to his feet, Whittaker predicts that du Plessis will manage to regain control of the fight and retain his title. Whittaker's confidence in du Plessis' ability to weather an early storm and rise to the occasion suggests that this fight could be one for the ages.
Khamzat and DDP, the next fight. Who do you think is going to walk away as the champion here?
I can't see anyone really stopping Chimaev's takedowns. Like, his takedowns are so hard to stop. It's super high level. Can DDP drag it into those later rounds? Can it get through the first grappling exchanges and then start to capitalize on his just like persistence, like doggedness to go away? Honestly, if Chimaev can't get DDP out of there, DDP wins. DDP wins almost every fight. You can't get rid of him, right? Because he's like mold, dude.
Yet Whittaker is not the only one who has weighed in on the highly anticipated showdown. Michael Venom Page, known for his striking brilliance, has offered a more balanced view. Page acknowledged du Plessis' momentum and championship aura, which makes him a formidable force in this matchup. However, he ultimately leaned toward Chimaev due to his athletic explosiveness and the unpredictable nature of his approach inside the cage. Chimaev has the ability to explode into action at any given moment, often catching his opponents off guard with his speed and power. MVP believes that if Chimaev can control the pace early, he might have what it takes to finish the fight quickly. A fast-paced bout could allow Chimaev to impose his will before du Plessis has a chance to get comfortable.
I don't see anybody beating him.
I like Khamzat too. I think he's been really incredible.
Yeah, definitely. He looked better in the last fight. Obviously, it didn't last long, so we didn't get to see it, but normally he's like Crash Bandicoot the first round, and then his energy dips.
DDP has been interesting though.
I feel like Dricus is very underrated for
No,
a
but that's
belt
the thing.
holder here.
But that's the thing. If anybody was to, it would be Dricus, because that is the muscular endurance. If you look at like some of the fights nowadays, Mirab, Dricus, these guys that have the muscular endurance to be fighting at 7 the whole fight. And you got someone like Mirab that's 7-8 from start to finish, mate, that's difficult to deal with. And Dricus seems exactly the same. He's like 7-8 the whole time. So if you don't kill him and get him out of there in that first round, second round, then you're gonna have a problem for the rest of the fight.
Ariel Helwani, a respected journalist with his finger on the pulse of UFC action, offered another angle on the fight. Helwani suggested that du Plessis' best chance of victory comes from surviving the opening rounds. He acknowledges that Chimaev will likely dominate early on, but du Plessis' ability to adjust as the fight goes into later rounds could play in his favor. Helwani believes that du Plessis' experience in 5-round wars gives him an edge if the fight stretches into deeper waters. The longer the fight goes, the better du Plessis' chances will become, especially given his ability to grind and stay composed even in the most intense moments.
Robert Whittaker,
It's one
Now,
of the
which
great
direction are you
things.
putting that now?
No,
Are you transferring that
I
to
think DDP figures it out. I think he takes him to deep water and he figures it out. And I think it's like a learning lesson for him and all this stuff.
Luke Rockhold, a former middleweight champion, weighed in on the match from a strategic standpoint. Rockhold emphasized the importance of the early rounds, asserting that Chimaev's relentless pressure and aggressive wrestling are a threat, but only if they are effective early on. If Chimaev fails to gain control in the opening rounds, Rockhold predicts the momentum will swing in favor of Duplessis. Duplessis has shown time and again that he thrives when the fight extends into the later rounds, and Rockhold believes this is where the South African could capitalize if Chimaev cannot close the fight early.
It's not always about the most technical guy, it's the guy who wants it more. And
how do you think he fares against Khamzat?
I think Khamzat is a go for broke kind of guy. Khamzat, if he can't out wrestle you, he can't control you in that fierce state of direction of what he does, I think he'll break. Khamzat will get him if he'll get him, but if he can't get him, it's going to be a hard third, fourth, and fifth round.
Right.
I think that's going to be all Dricus.
So if it goes into the championship rounds, you like the champ?
Yeah, 100%.
As the conversation continues, TJ Dillashaw, a former bantamweight champion, weighed in with an ominous warning for Chimaev. Dillashaw, who knows all too well the importance of pushing oneself to the limits in training, explained that Chimaev must break in training in order to handle the intensity of a 5-round title fight. According to Dillashaw, Chimaev's cardio will be tested like never before against a fighter like Duplessis. He believes that if Chimaev is not prepared to go through the grueling grind of a championship fight, his weak cardio could become exposed. The mental and physical preparation Chimaev undergoes will ultimately determine whether he can push through the fatigue that will inevitably arise in such a high-stakes contest.
He needs to work on top-end red line stuff because he goes for the kill, and you can only do that for so long. You have to train that section, right? So everyone's heart rate, right? You get into the red zone, you start producing lactic acid, you get tired. The only way to make that better is to be in that red zone for as long as possible and train to be there longer. Also get used to it mentally. If he can start training that, he should listen to Armin because Armin's doing it with Sam Calavita now. It'd be awesome if we can get Chimaev up there as well too. He would have, I would put a lot more money on Chimaev if he trains the right way for his cardio. If he doesn't train his cardio the right way, I think it's gonna be hard for him to put DDP away. And DDP's going to get him in the later rounds and gas him out.
Darren Till, who has had the rare opportunity to train with both Chimaev and Duplessis, offered a more optimistic view for Chimaev. Till, who knows the pressure Chimaev brings to the cage, believes that Chimaev's intensity will be too much for Duplessis to handle. Till's perspective adds a unique layer to the analysis, as he has first-hand knowledge of the fighters' skill sets and the intensity they bring in the gym. Till admits that Duplessis is tough, but his overall assessment favors Chimaev's ability to overwhelm opponents with his relentless style.
If I went back to the UFC now, I was the middleweight I could be. I'd tear that Dricus' head off. Tell Dricus I said, by the way, the little gobshite, because I can't stand his guts because he's so good.
You think he beats Khamzat, your boy?
No, look, I'm with respect, I'm never going to look past Dricus because he trains hard, he's super dedicated, he's super strong, and he's got that awkward style that doesn't make any sense. I think Khamzat will beat him inside the 2 rounds. I really do believe that. But look, Khamzat knows. I was speaking to Khamzat on the FaceTime the other day because I'm meant to be going out to Dubai to help with the camp. Khamzat knows it's a tough fight, but Khamzat trains like a beast. I do think Khamzat gets it in 2 rounds done. You know what I'm saying?
Sean Strickland, known for his unorthodox striking style and ability to neutralize wrestling-based opponents, shared his thoughts on the matchup as well. Strickland, who has sparred extensively with Chimaev, believes that fighters who train with elite wrestlers can often find a way to neutralize pressure-based strategies like Chimaev's. Strickland suggests that Duplessis' grappling could be key to this fight, and if he can deal with Chimaev's aggressive pace early on, the South African might be able to seize control in the later rounds.
TDP and Khamzat got announced. Yeah,
August
August 16th, on my birthday.
No, let's go.
3/19.
Let's go, dog.
Yeah.
Where's that going to be at?
Chicago.
Oh, no
Do you think, he beats DDP, or do you think DDP retains?
It's hard. So those little Chechen, I don't want to say Chechen, he's not Chechen, he's Swedish, but those little Chechen whore, they can grapple. And someone like me, who I've been training for years, I usually could counter wrestle and grapple him. So I just don't know if Dricus can be able to counter wrestle him.
Yeah.
But if he can, I think he wins all hands down, I sparred Chechen whore, like hands down. I think Dricus wins, but it's just going to come down to like, are you going to be able to like stop that counter? Are you going to be able to counter wrestle? And like you can, it's not hard. You just got to like, it's not hard, but you know, I've been training these little terrorists for forever, so it's like I just gotta know how to do it.
Ilia Topuria, a rising star in the middleweight division, shared his perspective, leaning slightly toward Chimaev. Topuria described both fighters as evenly matched in many areas, but Chimaev's relentless forward momentum and finishing instincts tipped the scale in his favor. According to Topuria, Duplessis' ability to control the pace and apply pressure will make this fight a challenge for Chimaev, but Topuria ultimately sees Chimaev's ability to push the fight and finish opponents as a crucial asset in this particular matchup.
Yes, he is friends with both of them.
He's the man. He's a savage. He calls him his shots. He finishes his opponents. When he goes inside the octagon, you know that that guy goes for the finish. He's not looking for the decision. That's why I respect Khamzat. He's a beast. So he deserves to fight for the title as soon as possible. We're gonna have an amazing fight because I love Dricus Duplessis. He's a great human being. I have a great relationship with him. I have a great relationship with Khamzat also. But as a fan of mixed martial arts, it's gonna be a very exciting fight. I hope the best man wins, and I wish best of the luck to both of them.
Kamaru Usman, who has had a close look at Chimaev's grappling prowess, praised Chimaev's top control and suffocating pressure, but acknowledged that Duplessis presents a unique challenge. Usman emphasized that Duplessis' toughness and mental resilience will be key factors in determining whether Chimaev can maintain his usual game plan. Usman refrained from picking a winner, but acknowledged that both fighters are more than capable of securing the victory, with Duplessis having a style that might give Chimaev more trouble than other opponents.
Khamzat Chimaev on your back round one is not easy to get off. And then he was able to sink that in. And that goes to show how strong of a squeeze this freaking dude had.
Could he pull that same style against Dricus Duplessis? Because I will say this.
1000%.
Michael Bisping, another former middleweight champion, added his own analysis to the growing concerns surrounding Chimaev's ability to last 5 rounds. While Bisping praised Chimaev's early power and aggression, he pointed out the fighter's struggles in 3-round contests, particularly in bouts against Gilbert Burns and Kamaru Usman. Chimaev has shown vulnerability when unable to secure an early finish, which raises questions about his ability to maintain his high-paced style throughout a 5-round battle. Bisping's concerns about Chimaev's cardio have echoed through the UFC community, with many wondering if the Chechen fighter's conditioning can hold up under the championship rounds.
I will say the 2 best finishers in all of MMA right now, Tom Aspinall and Khamzat Chimaev. Khamzat, 14 fights, 12 stoppages, 2 decisions, as I said earlier. And I'm telling you, he's going to try and finish Dricus Duplessis straight away. And that's his best bet. Now, Dricus Duplessis, this man's on fire, right? He's 23-2 overall. He's on an 11-fight win streak. He's got 10 wins in the UFC. And of course, this will be his 3rd title defense. He beat Sean Strickland by unanimous decision. He choked out Israel Adesanya in the 4th round. And he took the belt, as we know, in a close split decision victory over Sean Strickland way back at UFC 297. But they always say when you become the champion, you get 30% better. This man is improving all the time. He's got tremendous grappling of his own. If Khamzat Chimaev thinks that he's going to go out there and just take down Dricus Duplessis and just choke him out, right, like he's some schmuck, like he doesn't know what he's doing, like he's not someone that choked out an entire black belt jiu-jitsu team one after the other, then I think Khamzat Chimaev will be in for a rude. 2 times Khamzat went to a decision was when he couldn't get the finish in the 1st or 2nd round. And that's when Gilbert Burns started to take over. That's when Kamaru Usman had a lot of success and settled the score, and it almost came out as a draw. And now it's not 3 rounds, it's 5 rounds. And the way that Khamzat Chimaev fights is the way that he fights. He ain't gonna change. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. When you lose fights, you say, well, I never really lost. It was a chance to learn. And that is true. When you do lose, you address some things. You address your preparation. You address your weight cut. You address your diet. You address all that you might have been doing wrong. And one of those things might be that I address the fact that I don't pace myself. As I said, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. He's going to go full steam ahead. Khamzat Chimaev's going to go right at him. He ain't going to He's going to swing for the fence. He's going to pick him up. He's going to try and slam him down. He's going to go berserk. He's going to go mental. And that's what we love about him. And that's why we can't wait to see this fight. But if he doesn't get him out of there in the first round or the second round, and he's starting to gas come round 3 and round 4 and round 5, he is looking to be anywhere else but in the middle of the octagon in the United Center, right? Dricus du Plessis is going to take over. And that man is a big, powerful, and he is a finisher as well.
Reinier de Ridder, another up-and-coming middleweight contender, offered a similar take to Bisping's, predicting that du Plessis will take over in the later rounds. De Ridder explained that Chimaev is likely to dominate early with his explosive wrestling and top pressure, but if the fight enters the 4th and 5th rounds, du Plessis' stamina and toughness will prevail. De Ridder's prediction is that du Plessis will slowly chip away at Chimaev's energy, ultimately securing a late finish.
Absolutely not. I know you've been asked a million times about like the Khamzat and Dricus fight, but now that we do have a date, like a location, all that kind of stuff, maybe you can talk about it in more real terms since we know when and where it's happening.
Yeah, it's August, and where is it?
Chicago.
Oh,
August 16th.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay.
apparently Khamzat
Yeah.
can fight in the US.
Yeah, yeah. Now Trump is in office.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we talked about it before. Do you still feel Khamzat has the advantage there?
No, I think Dricus is gonna. I think Dricus will win. Yeah.
Caio Borralho, a rising talent in the division, offered a more cautious take. While he acknowledged that Chimaev's mix of wrestling and unpredictable striking makes him a difficult opponent, Borralho warned that du Plessis may have an edge in terms of technical skills. Chimaev's rhythm and timing are difficult to defend, but Borralho suggested that du Plessis will need more than just solid takedown defense to stay competitive. The South African's technical acumen will be tested in a way that few have been able to challenge Chimaev in the past.
Hamza fighting against Dricus. Who do you think he wins?
I think Hamza is gonna win because I don't see anyone preparing properly for Hamza. They are bringing wrestlers to train them to defend takedowns and all that, but Hamza doesn't do the normal stuff. Hamza doesn't do wrestling. He does MMA wrestling. It's different. You need to understand his system, what he wants next. You need to understand this first, and then you start to prepare for him. And I think Hamza's gonna win for Williams.
Chael Sonnen, ever the strategist, suggested that Chimaev remains the favorite going into the fight. However, he highlighted du Plessis' strengths and pointed out that Chimaev's wrestling-heavy style is not without flaws. Sonnen emphasized the importance of the first few minutes of the fight, noting that if du Plessis can avoid the takedowns early on, the fight could shift dramatically in his favor.
How is he going to beat him? Because I am not fully confident that Chimaev can take him down at will. I'm not fully confident he can keep him there. We're going to know in the very first round. If Dricus gets taken down in the first round, things are going to unravel very quickly. But if he can defend a takedown for the entire first 5 minutes, it's only going to get easier to stay on your feet after that. It's an exciting match. I would expect Chimaev to be the favorite, and he is.
As the UFC 319 title fight draws nearer, it's clear that this clash between du Plessis and Chimaev will be one of the most exciting, unpredictable matchups in recent memory. With various experts weighing in on how the fight might unfold, it's anyone's guess who will come out on top. One thing is for sure, this is a fight that will be remembered for a long time.